Tehseen, the Supreme Court, supreme, not infallible, why can't it be criticized? Everybody has a right to criticize.
Of course, everything must be criticized in this country, every single institution. That's what upholds democracy, and that includes the most honorable Supreme Court. So nobody is saying that the Supreme Court is supreme or the Parliament is supreme. It's the Vice President of India who's saying that, who hasn't read the Constitution, and he's an eminent lawyer, Chairman of Rajya Sabha. The Constitution of India is supreme. Both Parliament, Supreme Court, the Honorable Prime Minister, Chief Ministers, President draw their power from the Constitution of India. Parliament has a right to amend the Constitution, and Supreme Court has a right to strike down the amendments if it's ultra-vires to the Constitution. Power comes from the Constitution of India. First, this is the basics of democracy. It's a tragedy that in 2023 we have to explain the basics of democracy on India today. Point number 2. The BJP and its supporters have a habit of running with the hare and hunting with the hound. They will criticize the Supreme Court. They will say the basic structure of the Constitution can be changed. The Vice President of India, the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha. They will criticize the Keshavananda Bharati judgment. But at the same time, they will quote the same Supreme Court to say the most honorable Prime Minister got a clean chit. No doubt about it, he got a clean chit. And that brings me to the question of the documentary. Nobody is questioning the clean chit that the most honorable Prime Minister got. He's got a clean chit, we respect it. But there's a documentary. Nobody would have seen it, like I've said this earlier on your show, Preeti, except that the government or somebody in the government decided to mislead the most honorable Prime Minister and go with a hammer after a documentary that would not have got traction. And what's resulted is now, everybody wants to see the documentary. Why in a democracy do you want to ban something? Why do you feel that you have to come with a heavy hammer down on something? That is not how democracy works. This is not Amrit Kal, this is Amrit Khyal. And Amrit Khyal is not good, we should have Amrit Kal.
You know, Mr. Nigam, I'll come back to you as we wait for our other panelist, Mr. Sanjay Hegde, also to join us. And I'll come back to the question that I raised earlier. You know, the documentary can be terrible, it could be unwatchable, it could be factually completely incorrect. For a matter of fact, I haven't even seen it. But, and it's not about me. The question is, it could be all of that, but it's not anti-India. So let's not pretend and make something anti-India just because it's somewhere down the line, maybe not as per facts, paint a picture of the Prime Minister, which is incorrect. Even to that extent, it doesn't make the documentary anti-India, sir. How does it make it anti-India?
Mr. Modi is a duly elected Prime Minister of this country, and therefore is an Indian Prime Minister. Please understand that. He is not a Prime Minister of some other country. And a Supreme Court which has given him clean chit fair and square, then you may question the Supreme Court judgment, but you cannot peddle fake news. That is where
questioning the judgment.
So please hold on, let me finish.
Yes.
Let me finish. Once, see, if there was no Supreme Court judgment, and if this documentary had come, I would not have even, raised an iota of doubt about banning or not banning. Once a Supreme Court judgment is there, you may criticize the judgment, but that is not criticizing the judgment. Please remember that documentary is giving a narrative which is anti-Supreme Court judgment. And he's an Indian Prime Minister, therefore it is against India. It is not, yes, that is what it is.
So somebody who's exonerated, 1 second. Somebody who's till date, isn't Rajiv Gandhi somewhere down the line held for what happened in the Sikh riots? Wasn't he the Prime Minister of the country? Day in and day night, there is a section which drags in Nehru. Wasn't he the Prime Minister of the country? We have talked about ad nauseum about Indira Gandhi and the time of emergency. Wasn't she the Prime Minister of the country?
Yes,
Sir, hear me out. Sir, hear me out. The Supreme Court in the year 1986 exonerated everybody when it came down to the 84 riots. So, if we talk about Rajiv Gandhi's role, sir, please hear me out. If we talk about Rajiv Gandhi's role during the 84 riots, are we actually spinning a narrative which is anti-India because the Supreme Court exonerated everyone? No. Doesn't make it anti-India. But it's relative. One can raise the question. Go ahead, sir.
Let me answer that. Rajiv Gandhi is no more. And even if there were complaints, they all became redundant because he died. So there was no Supreme Court judgment on Rajiv Gandhi. Please understand that. That's a difference, fine legal jurisprudence difference that we have. And many people have been convicted also there. Sajjan Kumar and the others, some of them are the...
So has happened in 2002 Godhra riot. So let's not, what are we comparing? The fact is, how does criticizing the Prime Minister make it anti-India in this country?
See, because he's the Prime Minister of India.
Sir, there have been so many Prime Ministers. We have gone ahead and criticized every Prime Minister. That's what happens in a democracy.
criticism is all right. Emergency was not set aside by anybody. There was no Supreme Court judgment on the emergency saying it is unconstitutional. And in this case, Supreme Court has given a final judgment. These are final differences.
You know, the irony of all of this, I want to bring in Sanjay Hegde. The irony of all of this is you're actually quoting a Supreme Court judgment on the Prime Minister and then criticizing the Supreme Court for not addressing a petition which had to do with the banning of this documentary. It's a very deep irony, sir. I hope you see it. But, I'm going to just...
Both the petitions should be heard together.
Okay,
that is what my point is.
Okay.